everybody, cause it's about time for you to speak your mind.
Eventually, if we could see
Secret Girls Club. Secret Girls Club. Super Secret Girls Club.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome. Good morning, everybody. Whoever it's morning for. But yeah, welcome to the Super Secret Girls Club. This is Navi.
Marketa.
If you don't know us already, we are here to talk about, well, I mean, you guys can see the topic, but we are today going to talk about our worst dates, our best dates, and a date advice. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, I'm gonna let few people join. I had to really dig through my worst dates and just see which one they were.
I'm gonna have to do that live, right here, just to see what my brain comes up with.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, it's like a matter of, right? Like, if everybody's dating, there is a probability that you will end up having a bad date, a worst date, and just go from there. But yeah, hello everybody in chat. Just FYI, if you are watching us on YouTube, we will not be looking at YouTube chat. We are only looking at Twitch chat. We'll be responding to people in a Twitch chat. So please jump on over to our Twitch. It's the Normies TV. Or if you want to keep watching on YouTube, that is fine. Just FYI, we won't be responding to your comments if you are messaging.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We have a whole screen behind the camera that shows us the Twitch chat.
Exactly.
So we can see it live.
Yes. And just for people who are asking, yes, we have just watched the new Avatar trailer. We're just going to get that out of the way. We watched it right before this, so that reaction will be dropping here soon.
I'm so excited.
But just wanted to just give everybody a heads up. But before we jump into our main topic, Katie, how's your week been? How was your weekend? I feel like the weekend is always a blur when we come here. Like, what did we do on the weekend?
I know. Well, it was the Halloween weekend, which is one of the more memorable ones of the year.
I love Halloween.
So I do remember what I did. But unfortunately, I also had, I was feeling a little under the weather, so I didn't do too much. But there's always this festival here in Indianapolis that is always super fun, and we go every year, and this year was no exception. I loved it, even though I was there only for a little bit.
Yeah.
It started getting really busy too. So
it was so busy.
It was time to leave.
It was my first time going, and the way Chris told me, he was like, "You should go. It's fresh donuts." It's like, that's it. I'm sold.
Yep.
I don't need to be told anything else. Fresh donuts. It was me and Chris who got there, and our first mission was like to find fresh donuts.
You have to.
That's
you
it.
have to, because then the line is insane. But they literally, it's like one of those places where they make the donuts on the spot. Like, they have the fresh dough, and then they put it in a fryer. You will watch them put it in a fryer, then they take it out, and they put the sugar on it, and put it in a box, give it to you. It's so fresh. The freshest
so
you can have.
I ate all 6 of them.
That is how you should do it.
I know. I was like, I saved 3. I was like, I'll give it to my parents because we were gonna have a family dinner, and they were like, we don't want it. Like, that's fine. I will eat all. Like, I will eat them. I was just trying to do a good thing.
You will do the sacrifice.
Exactly. Like, it is fine. But yeah, it was good.
It was fun. Yeah, and then
Halloween party, right?
Yeah, we went to a Halloween party that you didn't go to.
No, I didn't, because my parents dropped off Nico, and I had family dinner, and I came back, and I laid with her, and then next thing you know, I fell asleep.
Aww.
So I woke up at 9. And I had thought of that I was gonna be, I forgot my wig here at the studio, and I was not gonna drive 30 minutes to get it. So I was like, okay, I will be a No Face from Spirited Away, paint white and do all that. I woke up at 9, I was like, there's no way. I'm painting
but that was
my
a great
face.
idea.
I know. I had everything put together, and it's like, nope, I'm gonna go to bed. That's it. But yeah.
Yeah, I was Misa Amane from Death Note, and Chris was Light Yagami. I let him use my red tie, which he immediately broke.
Tie? Like tie?
Yeah, so
how did it break?
So it was a tie from my My Hero Academia uniform costume. No, so it has a zipper. Oh. So you put it on, and then you just zip it up. But then it's kind of like you have to go under and unzip it to take it off.
Oh, and he just tried to take it off.
And he was trying to do it how you do a tie. And because he was pulling on it, it was getting tighter around his neck, and then he panicked and just ripped it.
I'm like, God, that's hilarious. I've never heard a tie that zips up.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty smart. Like, it was like,
Yeah, but now when you're drinking, I guess. But yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, my weekend was kind of a blur. We went to a festival together, but afterwards I just like took it easy. And Sunday I was like, I'm just gonna prep because it was rainy the whole week. I think
It was
Sunday
a
was like a whole rainy,
weekend,
so I was like,
yeah.
I'm just gonna stay inside, make some tomato soup, and just stay here. I didn't make tomato soup, but I had tomato soup and grilled cheese, so it was great.
Nice.
Yeah, I love the weekends when I
Did
don't do
you
anything.
have any trick-or-treaters on Monday?
Only a few. I
Yeah.
bought so much candy.
Oh my
I
god.
only have few. I have like so much candy left that I packed it up for next year because it's not gonna go bad, right? So it's gonna be there for next year because I don't want to eat all of it. I actually got a good candy
that's
too.
Smart, actually.
Yeah. Did you get trick or treaters?
Yes,
Yeah?
I got quite a few.
Okay.
And it was a lot of fun because I didn't know what I was expecting. We've never like done it before.
Yeah.
Or I personally have never done
Oh,
it
this
before.
was your first time ever.
Well, I mean, yeah, kind of. Like the first time living in our own house, like in our
Yeah.
own neighborhood, and
Yeah.
like seeing what happens. And we had a lot of kids like drive from like their neighborhood to our neighborhood.
Yeah, just park there.
Because it's like around like the cemetery area.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of like just like apartment complexes or like assisted living.
Mm-hmm.
So they were like driving around and like they just came in and they were like so polite.
Oh.
They like each took like one candy out of the bowl and I was like,
You can take
you
more.
can take more.
That's funny. I'm not big
They were
on
so
like
cute.
I'm not big on like trick or treating. I will put a bowl outside. I was like, just take it. And last year, I ran out of candy. Like there was so many
Nice.
people came to a point where like this one kid like took the bowl and threw it in the main whatever. I picked the bowl up. But this year, like I didn't have anybody. Like I think only one or two people
Aw.
came, and I don't know what happened this year. I don't know if there were not that many kids around. It was just a little bit different. But yeah, I curious to know if all of you guys did trick or treating. The late night dancers still feel the best Halloween is simple face paint, door knock, and trick or treat with the kids. It is. I think face paint. We've gotten so much face paint, so
face
we're getting
paint is
used to it.
fun.
It's so much fun.
I don't know if you guys saw me, but for the Normies Halloween party, and we also had like a housewarming party here for the studio, I painted my face to be Palpatine. I have pictures on my Instagram and on my Twitter if you want to see it.
And we have a video
I thought
on
it was
TikTok.
pretty legit.
It was pretty good. She did a pretty good job, and she was so fast at it. I was like, "What the hell?" That was like so quick. Like put on a whole face makeup. But yeah, it was great. We watched all the Halloween movies, so we are good. We are on top. All right, guys. I think I have notes. I'm so happy. Like I went to like a whole like figuring this out, but it took me a minute. Like I think the first question
I'm
I just want to
scared.
ask. It'll be fine. It'll be curious. I think this is gonna be an open discussion. I'm just curious to see what everybody in the chat thinks as well. And there's a lot of information I found online that I'm not sure if I agree with all of it fully. So we'll see how that goes. But first question I want to ask: do you guys have any worst dating stories? I actually went online and just looked up the worst dating stories, and I kept reading the worst dating stories. Right, it just kept getting bad.
Type
There
your
was some
nightmare
people
stories.
was so bad. I haven't had personally.
Back there, I have 5.
Oh, I had 5. Oh my god, that's insane. I don't like. I had to like rethink. I really had to go through all my dates because I don't think I had like horrible stories. Hello, Andy number 15, first time chatter. Hello, thank you. I think the worst one I had was there was a one time I waited an hour for my date.
Absolutely not.
And the only reason I waited for an hour because we were in a relationship. Otherwise, I would have left. So I think that was like one of my worst ones. And it was just if it was my first date, then we'll fuck it. I'm gone after 10 minutes. But it was like I was in a relationship and I kept getting messages like, oh, 5 minutes away, 10 minutes away, 15 minutes away.
Oh
Next
my
thing you
god,
know,
I hate that.
I was so annoyed. It was like I could have done so
much.
so much. Like I could have literally. I was on Mass. I was like I could have parked and gone to like a store next door and like so much. So I was so annoyed because like time is really precious for me, and so like don't look at a time. I was like it's an hour. Like at this point, and we were gonna meet before we were meeting friends. So we were gonna meet an hour before just for a drink. So like, so I couldn't even leave. It wasn't like, oh, I'm just gone. It's like I have to be here to meet my friends, and you were meeting me, and just like that was one of them. So Braktir, I tried them like sitcom episodes. The one with the meth addict, the one with the kid who brought with her and never talked to me about the one with the Dine and Dasher. Dine and Dasher?
No.
Dude.
No.
That's insane.
No.
Obi meow. Nah, if they can't appreciate your time, they aren't worth it. Trust me. I know. I hate when like just Damn, Braktir, that's like a Friends episode. The one with the meth addict. I watch that. You have to come with the worst dating story. I'm gonna let you think of another one if you can think.
I don't. I'm trying to think of like
the worst.
I guess the thing is like I haven't really gone on dates per se.
Fair enough.
Like I would just meet somebody like in school, at work, or just like at a bar or something, and it would just evolve.
And they will show up.
It would go somewhere, or it would go nowhere. I haven't.
Nobody like actually walked out on you in like a bathroom. They went to bathroom, like never came back.
No.
Or something like that.
No.
Yeah. I
haven't really like. I think I went on a I went on a date with Chris because we met on a dating app, but before then, I was just kind of living life. I didn't really care about being single at all. I was like, someone comes around and is nice, maybe we can have some fun, but I was just kind of like.
Hey Pilar, thank you for joining. Hello, lady.
Oh, Pilar!
Hi. Yeah, she said a few minutes, but dying to hear your dating stories. Dating is weird. I'm still dating, and I think it's a matter of time when you date often that some of the dates are gonna be just weird.
I hate dating.
Dating
think
is
that's
awful.
the main reason why I've done so little of it.
Yeah, it's awful.
I'm bad at it, and I hate it, and I have no patience for it.
Yeah, embarrassing kisses. That's the worst one. There was a one where like I went on a date with this girl and I kissed her and she got so awkward. Like so awkward. I've never had like an awkward kiss.
No.
Like she like froze. I was like, this is a second date. I assumed this would be okay.
Oh, okay.
Like, we forgot about that part.
I guess
yeah.
I just realized I just remembered one of my like bad dates, I guess.
There you go.
It was also with a girl.
Yeah.
But it was so the expectations were just not clarified, I guess, because I showed up at the date. Well, first of all, there was another date that I showed up at, and that date was like the same time thing where they were like, "Oh, I'm gonna be 10 minutes late," and then I waited for like 15 minutes. Yeah. Like, "Oh, I'm still like putting my kid to bed," and I'm like, "Okay, I'm leaving."
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
So you haven't even left the home.
Yeah, like you haven't even left the house yet. And
oh my God.
She lived like 30 minutes away. And I was like, why did you tell me you were 15 minutes when you were still at home with your fucking kid?
I hate that. Yeah, just be realistic. If you're going to be 45 minutes late, that's fine. Let me know. I won't leave the house.
I know, seriously. Late. So, yeah, I was just like, okay, that's not going to happen ever. Like,
those are worse.
This is a lost lead. I'm just closing
15 minutes is the grace period.
Yeah.
I will give somebody.
Yeah, but the other one, she actually showed up, but then like immediately started talking about certain things I didn't know she wanted, and I'm like, oh, well, I'm not here for that. So
do you guys usually, and I think that's a good question for everybody else, how much do you talk on a text message before you meet somebody? Because sometimes it's just one of those things like, oh, if we had talked about a text message, I wouldn't have wasted this time. And sometimes like it's better to just get off and just meet in person and figure it out. I think it's like a just weird balance there.
Well, I feel like, you know how there's like the meme like this could have been an email?
Yeah.
Like that's where I'm at. Like I don't need to meet this person if our expectations don't align, and I feel like that's something that could have been clarified
through a text message. Yeah, I wouldn't have wasted my time getting ready and leaving out and all that stuff. But yeah, Riesh 12. My worst one was when the guy was checking out another girl hole on the date. Never went on second one with him. Good for you. That's awful.
That's crazy. Awful.
Oh my God. Brooke dear, I think I can form a strong connection texting. Also during the pandemic, which is still ongoing, it makes sense to really get to know someone that way.
Yes, I agree.
For sure. I I think I have like solid few questions that I will ask because like, okay, I think you're person that I can meet up.
And I think that also for anybody who's like has like social anxiety, I think that texting is a good like entry way into like getting to know someone in a very like low stakes environment.
Yeah.
And then also because I do have this problem, and I feel like when I text with someone and like we have at least some common background at that point, then when we meet in person, we can just kind of naturally follow up on the conversation we had in text.
Yeah. The worst is, I think I've had a few, not worst, it's a conversation where my profile will say exactly what I'm looking for, right? And there was a time where I was only looking for casual because I was traveling. It's like, that's it. And even then, I will make it very clear at the very beginning, like, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Just want to make sure the expectations are set. And now it's a little bit changed. And what comes down to, like, when you're talking to somebody, they're like, oh, I wasn't sure. Like, I was just looking for casual. Or they will start with, like, oh, I'm just, meeting and see where it goes. And then they change to casual, like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, don't. I was very clear. Like, I'm always very clear, like, to stick with it. Watchdog. With the one date, I was waiting 20 minutes outside of fair entrance. I was about to leave until she finally showed up. After we went in, we walked around for a few, and then she kept trying to get me to buy her literally everything. Then she got upset with me because I didn't buy her the world on the first date, which annoyed me a little bit.
Yeah, that's no.
Yeah, no. Absolutely not. It's just weird. I'm weird with money. Like, if somebody like buy me a dinner, I'm always like, okay, first of all, and then we're gonna have drinks that I can pay for, so we kind of like equal setting, even if it's fine. Like, you paid a little bit more for dinner, but no, I don't. I'm always weird when people are just okay with somebody buying them things.
I think that's a really touchy thing that maybe could be like the expectation could be clarified in text, because I feel like it makes the end of a date always so awkward because there's like a lot of ego attached to it, right? From both ends. Like, the guy feels entitled to pay, to impress and pay, but as a girl, I also have had this experience where I let someone pay for my meal, even though I offered that we can just go Dutch or something. The guy wanted to pay, and I was like, okay, you want to pay, that's pay. Yeah. I don't care. You know what I mean? Yeah. But then, like, that created the expectations in the guy's head that, like, he's paying, that, like, now he has, like, some kind of dominion over me. That, like, I
expect something.
Yeah. And I hate, and that happened once, and since then, I didn't let men pay for my food.
Interesting.
Because I was just like, you're not buying me. And, like, then I think that they're just like, if there was like conversation in text, like, how do you feel about like paying for? Yeah, it's just really weird.
That's weird. I've never had that conversation in a text message. That's funny because I think that is also just a society norm, kind of not norm, but like not given also, but just assume that if somebody pay for it, there's something in return. And I think we are at a point where that's not really true anymore. So I've never have come into experience where if a guy paid for it, I always offer to pay. Like, I always, and I'll make sure, like, are you okay? Are you sure? There's been few times where we split it and we kind of knew that it was just not going to like split it. That's perfectly fine with it. But I've never had experience where like somebody expected something afterwards.
I don't know if, so that was like in Czech Republic.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's just like an assumption there. But
I think it's an assumption here too, but I think it's gone better. I think it's an assumption that media tells you, but it's not really necessarily true.
It's kind of like, but like when I was younger, it made me feel that I owe this person something as well. And I don't know, I don't really know, I can't pinpoint like what made me think that way, but yeah, there's like a few times that I like went out with someone and then like I didn't really want to like kiss them goodbye or anything, but then I was just like, all right, let's get it done.
Yeah. Let's just so I can go inside.
And I'll never text you.
Yeah. Oh God. There was a one time. It was really nice. The guy asked me if they could kiss me. Super sweet.
That should be always
like super sweet. But my answer was no because I don't think it was gonna be anything, and I didn't want to give the option. Like, especially when he asked me, and for me to say yes and then like never text that person back. I was like, I'm glad that you asked. I appreciate it. But no, like I can't because I don't see it going anymore. And he was truly understandable, like understood. So it was really good. I think one of my worst dating that I completely forgot about it was I actually got stood up one time.
Oh my God.
I know. I went to, we were gonna meet at a bar, not bar, like a hotel bar, and he never showed up. I was like, okay, this is weird. I had a drink because it was a long day after work, and then I ended up making friends because there was like these three group of ladies who were having the night out. So it was super fun. So I like ended up talking to them, and they were like, "You should come out here," and blah blah. Like I was like, "Okay, yeah, sure," but I had such a long day. It's like, no, I'm gonna go home. I still have the number, and they're like, "You should come out." Like they have a younger daughter who was trying to like, "Where do you all the young people hang out?" I was like, everywhere. Like I don't know.
Hilarious.
It was like, so I just like hanging out with them, and they're like, it was super cool. They bought me a drink, like we had appetizers and all that. I was like, okay, I guess this turned out really well, but like, and so I blocked in my head until like I was reading all that. I was like, that's the worst. But,
Pillar just shared a good strategy, I think. She
Yeah.
says the paying thing is such a complicated thing for me, so I try not to go to a proper dinner or lunch as a first or second time date, and I go for coffee or drink so I can buy a second round in case he gets the first round.
very good.
That's really good.
Very
Yeah.
good. And I think that kind of also lifts the expectation of, because it's also unfair for the guys to be paying all the time, and food is so expensive now. Sometimes like 2 people meal can turn like $80-$100 depending on what you're getting. So I think coffee and a drink is a very good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that. And also you're meeting in the daylight, which is always good.
Yeah. And then if it goes well, then you can always like, if it goes really well, I've had those, like I've had like drinks and it goes really well, like let's go get food. And then it can become a whole thing. Otherwise it's a drink, it's one off, we're done, we're never talking again, let's go.
Yeah.
Brooke here, I hate going to dinner on a first date. Going for coffee is fast, casual. You can either do more activities after and the date right there if people aren't feeling it. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Brooke here, I met Jess on Tinder. Hey, Tinder is still cool. Yeah.
Pillar got stood up. Who the fuck? I'm gonna kill him.
Dude, seriously, by a guy who clearly was interested first.
Wow.
Same. It makes no sense. It was like,
What a
what
loser.
just happened? And I'm like, and it was like, okay, did you just see and you left? Like, I don't know what's happening here. But yeah.
He better have broken all of his fingers so he couldn't text you back.
Yes, exactly. Watchdog, I like to go somewhere fun or chill on a first date. Yes. Fun and chill is always fun. I'm trying to do more like adventures. Like, let's go like to a festival. Activity. Yeah, there was like a harvest nights happening or a museum, or there's so much fall activities happening. It's like, let's go do this together.
Right.
And then figure out how it goes. All right. My favorite topic. So some of you guys may know this is not out on Patreon yet, but I've been watching Fuckboy Island, one of the really good trash TV. Also, you need to watch Love is Blind season 3. It's insane. Insane.
Should we just react to it?
Me and Spencer, and we should watch it. Me, Spencer, and Spidey were talking about it yesterday because half of the season's out, half the season coming out today. Dude, people are crazy. But we've been watching Fuckboy Island, and I think one question that came up was like, what is considered to be fuckboy? Like, what is the list of people of fuckboy? So I went down the rabbit hole to figure out what the fuckboys are, and realized some of them is stuff that I do. So I don't know, I'm gonna be one of them. I was like, is this me that they're describing? And I was like, maybe this is why I'm here. So
This is so funny.
It's just-
well, let's get to the fuckboy signs. And before we do, I just want to Pillar saying it was so sad. I literally cried. I felt so
Aw.
dumb. Then he texted saying that his feet hurt because it was too hot outside. What a fucking asshole.
Was he a dog that his feet, like, he didn't have shoes? Like, my feet hurt because it's too hot outside?
Oh my god.
Oh
I'm so
my
sorry.
God.
That's so bad. This guy is clearly a fuckboy, and you dodged a bullet.
Yes, you did.
You dodged a bullet.
Like, can you imagine going somewhere hot because he couldn't walk because his feet hurt? God
And
damn it.
now...
Well, Hero FPS, thank you so much for subscribing.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Before, I just want to... Okay, couple definition of what the fuckboy is.
What is the
From
definition?
Urban Dictionary, and let me know if you agree or not. A guy who will tell a girl anything to get them to hook up with them. A complete jerk who flirts with multiple girls at a time and makes them all believe they're individually special.
Yes.
So fuckboy was originally described a lame fake guy. It wasn't until around 2015 when Vanity Fair and a whole slew of white writers decided to give the meaning you might be more familiar with, the womanizer. So fuckboy is essentially a womanizer.
Okay.
So fuckboy or fuckboy, it's just depending on how to spell it, who is strictly into sexual relationships. Now, that part isn't a bad thing. However, the difference between a guy who wants casual sex and a fuckboy is that this particular specimen doesn't tell you what they want. Instead, they lead you on, making you think that you will be able to have something more with them just so they can continue having sex with you.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I have not done that ever, but there are some things that I have done. I will let the other person know if I'm just looking for casual.
I like Brechter's definition. Fuckboys are dudes that pretend to have emotional depth but are just vapid, empty vessels of fuckery.
Yes. It's so funny. Like watching Fuckboy Island where people are like, we have fuckboys. Like, dude, what? Who self-proclaims themselves that way? But okay, I guess.
I mean, at least you're being honest with yourself.
At least you know, exactly.
I respect that.
At least you're not finding out while you're reading it, like, maybe it's me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I the fuckboy?
Am I the
So
fuckboy?
what makes you think that you are a fuckboy? No.
Okay, we're gonna go the list of red flags and go from there. So the first one was like always busy as hell.
You are always busy.
am.
But you're not lying about it.
Sometimes I do use it as an excuse, and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I am busy, and sometimes like I will see a text message. It's like, I'm too busy to respond to this text message, and the whole day will go. It's like, I'm sorry, I was too busy.
No,
I've done that.
I do.
So that's been horrible. Brooke, it's like you're saying all the right things, but you're doing all the wrong things. Yes. Pilar, do you girls think that you can be honest with F boys, or being an F boy relates to manipulation? I think F boy is manipulator. Like I do, and we'll go on some things.
Yeah.
Like I think some things I do, but like it just I am very clear. I'm like, hey, this is gonna be casual.
You're an ethical fuckboy.
I'm an ethical fuckboy. I'm an ethical non-monogamous person, and my profile will sometimes say that I'm ethical non-monogamous. You know what you're signing up for. I'm not hiding it for you. But yeah, all right. The next one is refuse to put a label on it. I think I don't do that, but I think that's a red flag. If you keep dating them and they're like, no, they won't. Ethical love to hear. The next one, lies. Yep. They will lie about everything. They will lie about where it's been or where she's been, where it's going, who's with. And guys, I haven't found a word for fuck girl. I think that's like a definition of it, and I think that's gonna be a question for you guys as well. What is the equivalent of girls? Because I have taken the pronouns out of this because I think both can be applied to both genders. And somebody asked the question, what are the red flags to watch out from the girls? It's essentially the same red flags to watch out from the guys.
Yes.
They both do the same shit.
We are fully capable of doing the same shit.
Yes, we are. We exactly are. Equality. Feminism. Watchdog. I'll just talk about fuckboys make me feel bad for my gender. Don't watchdog. No. It's for both. So that's what I'm gonna try to like.
It originated as a fuckboy for a reason.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. But
it's both
that
sides.
doesn't mean that both sides aren't doing the same shit.
They are. Weird about their phone. Yes. If you are really weird, do not let them check their phone, which is, I mean, have you ever gone through somebody's phone? Ever need to? I never needed to go through somebody's phone.
I had people go through my phone and I found it infuriating, and
even if there's nothing to hide?
Yeah.
Just be like, trust that person?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I mean, multiple times people went through my phone and they found nothing. Or they made like something very innocent look like something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this a friend or something. Like, I can't have friends. Like, at that point, you're entering the field of manipulation and you're trying to, like, that was the relationship that I was in, where I was just being isolated slowly.
Oh my God.
One by one. And yeah, and like it started by just like taking my phone from me and just like going through it.
They took the phone away from you?
No. Like, I had my phone, but like they would just like look at it sometimes. And I'm like,
God.
what are you doing? Like,
yeah.
It's my fucking phone.
Were you able to look at their phone, or they were like, no? Or did you ever ask?
Yeah, no, I asked and I looked through their phone. There was nothing. And I'm like, yeah, but like I don't I think
There's no
if
need
I wanted
to.
to find something, I would find it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And that was their mindset as well.
No, makes sense.
And I didn't really give a shit. Like, I trusted this person.
Yeah.
And so I am very, very particular about phone privacy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have nothing to hide, but I absolutely hate when Chris is like, if Chris is just like sliding into my DMs or something. I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you looking for?
I know.
What are you looking for?
Yeah. and that's where the trust issue comes in.
Yeah.
And on a watchdog, you said a really good thing. A phone is a person's diary, and trust like that takes time. Yeah, like I have nothing to hide, but for somebody to like look through my diary, it's like, why? Like, I don't want you to be looking through my diary. Just trust me that I
Yeah.
have nothing.
Yeah, watchdog. Do I trust Chris with my phone? Yeah. I mean, and we've been together for 7 years.
Damn. Wow.
And we've been through all of this already.
Oh, so you went through everything.
So
yeah.
I mean, there were a few times where I was upset because, he would just like look through my phone. But
Yeah.
we're past that now.
Fair
And
enough.
I would there was one time that I felt like I had a reason to look at his phone, and I asked if I can.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't just grab his phone without
You
him
asked
knowing.
him. Yeah. No, that's fair. Yeah, phone is kind of a weird thing. I've never had anybody go through my phone, thankfully, and I never had to go through somebody's phone. If I ever in a place where I feel like I need to go through somebody's phone, I have to even ask for it. It's just there's so many things I have to question. Like, why am I here to this point to do this?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're at a point where you have to go through your partner's phone, there's something already missing in your relationship. That's
Exactly.
like very important.
Yeah. The next one is he won't introduce you to their friends or loved ones. That's
Yeah.
true. I never actually I been talking to this guy, and I'm not dating this guy. And we knew, like, I think we started off, and then I clearly knew that he wanted something casual, and we stuck with it. And like reading all this, like, oh yeah, you're clearly a fuckboy. And I already kind of knew, but now I have a name on it. So like, I will just keep it to casual. Don't need to pretend anything more than that.
Yeah. But like, yeah, I mean, I feel like you can have casual relationships or
Yeah.
have like connections with people where you just like meet for a specific purpose.
Mm-hmm. And then you're
that's
aware of
fine.
it. Yeah.
That's fine. As long as both of you know what this is about and nobody has like hurt feelings over it or, expectations that are never going to be met by the other person.
Yeah.
I mean, that's perfectly fine. I don't think that would make you a fuckboy.
Mm-mm.
What makes you a fuckboy is if you
Hiding
tell them
it.
you love them and you're gonna get married and have hundreds of children, but you have a wife or
Yeah.
you're like have
Dude.
other girlfriend or you're like, I don't know, like something about you very important to your person that this person doesn't know.
I was reading worst dating stories, right? Because of this, so I started reading all the blogs.
Oh,
There was
no.
one really bad story where this guy went on a date and they were on a movie and they came out and she got a text message and she looked devastated and she said that her fiance got in a motorcycle accident. I was like, and they had been seeing each other for a little bit. So like, wait a minute. Not only she was seeing somebody else, we're engaged. Like, what the hell? Some stories out there are really bad. Thankfully, my stories are not that bad, but it could. But Bo Mencia, thank you so much for subscribing.
Thank you.
Yeah, a fuckboy equal treats you like you are disposable. Exactly. But yeah. The other ones is he says things like, let me know when you're free, rather than proposing an actual time and place. I hate that bullshit. I hate it. It's like, oh, let's get together. When?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me when. I'll go from there. Or,
yeah.
yeah.
Be fully honest, I do that with friends sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't know, sometimes I'm just like, the bull usually happens when I've tried before and
It
at
doesn't
this
go
point I
anywhere.
feel like ball is in your court. Let me know when you're free because, I've extended myself and nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
So
Yeah.
why don't you let me know when you're free? Because I'm done.
Yeah, I've done that in relationship too because not on purpose. Like I've been the one initiating and then I'll be like, okay, tell me when you're free and we'll hang out then. and then something doesn't come. It's like, okay, yep, that clearly tells me what I need to know, and this is it. DJ Degenerate, I like going with the flow rather than being upset when plans don't go through.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, but yes, only so many times, right? Like if it's a repetitive occurrence, like better have really good.
Yeah,
reason.
So that's why I think maybe this like fuckboy red flag maybe with a grain of salt.
Yeah,
like that's not like a definitive. You're a fuckboy.
No,
because sometimes people are just beaten to the point where they just don't want to make plans because they're like being stood up, or like or just, that will turn you into a person.
Yeah, or just having a busy week. Like you just had someone who's like, I just don't know, my week is just. When I was working on my previous consulting job, like I was working Pacific Standard Time, so different time zone. So I would be working till 8. Some days I can get off at 6. So it's like I don't know what my schedule is, so I don't know when I can like create times, and the person wouldn't be available on weekends. Like this is it. I guess we're just not gonna hang out. This one I do agree with. The person will disappear for days without you hearing from them, and when they finally resurface, they offer no explanation. Like it's perfectly normal. Yep. Yep. Yeah. It's like no answer. It's like, okay, yeah, now you're back for sex. All right, cool, great. Go from there. So what are the other? There weren't that many. Like all the things that they were posting about the fuckboy, and it's like it could go either or. Yeah. I don't think there's a clear signs that will tell you what they are, besides you just reading between the lines of what they're telling you.
Yeah.
Or just ask about their past relationships. I think that's been very helpful.
Yeah. Should we talk about what people should ask on the first date?
Oh, yeah. What should they ask with the first date? I think the first one they should really ask is like, what question, not first question, like one of the questions I do ask is like, what are you here for? Like, what are you looking, essentially? Like, after we have a conversation, obviously can be the first question, like, hey, how are you? What are you here for? Just like asking, just like in general, like, hey, so what are you looking? So I know what the expectations are. How do we need to make plans moving forward? Those are one of the things I ask.
Watchdog disagrees with you and says that asking about past relationship is a big red flag.
Is it really? Do you think so?
How come? I don't think so.
Like, I would. If it comes up naturally, I will ask them, like, hey, so when was your past relationship? Not exactly, like, when was your past relationship and what happened, kind of thing. Not without going super detailed.
Yeah, I mean, I see how it could go wrong. Because, if someone has, like, a very traumatic relationship past, they maybe don't want to open up about it on the first date. You know what I mean? Like, maybe it's too personal.
And that totally makes sense. Yeah. I wouldn't ask them to open up. I think my question have been like, hey, when was your past, like, when was the last time you were in a relationship? So was it like a week ago? Obviously that will tell me like you're not ready. Or was a year ago? That will also help me to like, I have people come later on that was like, oh, I like broke up a week ago, I'm not ready for it. It's like, well, this would have been a great information to know beforehand. But they could also use it as an excuse, so who knows. But yeah.
Well, I mean, speaking of Fuckboy Island, the show that will be on Patreon soon, we are like, that is one of the questions that they are asking the guys. But I think that specifically within the context of like, they know that they're either they're possibly fuckboys. And I don't know if that is how people should be approaching dating in general.
Fair enough.
Like, I don't think you should be meeting someone with the negative assumption that they are probably a fuckboy.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And I see Surge in the chat as well, also agreeing with Watchdog. I guess this is a learning moment for me, so maybe that's a question I will remove from my roster to ask. Who then is it? And just keep them there. Oh, so what are your strengths and weaknesses? Okay, yeah, I guess that's a good question. That's like an interview. What are your strengths? Pepe, please. What was the time you went above and beyond? Fair.
What are good questions to ask on the first date? I think that the expectations, like, what are you looking for right now? Like, where are you at mentally?
Fair.
Is a very good question. And again, I feel like that's something that could be answered in text.
Yeah, true.
Which could lead into further questions, that maybe you can discuss in person. I definitely, when I meet someone new, I want to know like general like statistics. Like, how old are you? Where are you from? Have you always like, have you like lived in different places, or are you settled here? Like things like that. And like, what's your job?
Yeah,
These,
what
like,
your job?
things.
Yeah, in general, that's always a question. Like, yeah, what are you doing? What are you doing when you're not hanging out? Like, or just general. Like, what are you doing? What are your job? And I think the other question is just in general. Like, I want to know if they living their life, like, have motivation to do things. But there's somebody else, like, can they ask somebody what their body count is? Never. Never ever ask that question unless you are dating for several years. Even then, only ask question if you're ready to hear the answer. If you are not gonna be okay with the answer, don't ask that
I don't
question.
understand the point of the question.
I don't know.
I don't
It could
understand.
come up.
No, but I don't get it. Like, what do you gain? What knowledge do you gain knowing if they had sex with 10 people before you, or 2 or 20?
Maybe
What
they had sex
difference
with
does
one
it
person,
make?
and then that will tell me, it's like, okay, you are very inexperienced. That would help me understand, like, I need to walk you through on some things, and then just give me a benefit of doubt. It's like, that's fine, we'll learn it together. Instead of something like, I fucked 100 people. Like, all right, you should be expert at this. What are you doing?
Well, I don't know, because maybe, he fucked 100 people in the same way, and that's why they never stick around for the second time.
That's true. Then it will tell me, it's like, you really need a feedback. You need a feedback session. I don't know. I don't think, yeah, you're right. Like, that doesn't tell you anything. I've never asked that question. I just think it's not, you don't need to know the answer to that at all. Unless the person is virgin, then like, yeah, I need to know. Nothing wrong with it. Then I just need to know what to expect, right? Like, need to go slower, need to have some more time. Just, there needs to be more talking involved.
But I think, like, I think that your reason for asking may be valid, as in, like,
I've never asked. I've never asked this question ever, and I will never ask this question.
I just think that the main reason why anybody would ask this is to judge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, to judge, like, are you promiscuous or not?
Yeah.
And then that is none of anybody's business, especially someone you met for the first time.
That's true. Also, so I also have like list of deal breakers, and I think this might be some of the questions that may come up because we all have deal breakers. And I think one of the things that came up, I have deal breakers, but I didn't realize what they are until, like, when you go through a life, it's like, okay, yeah, this is something that I'm not okay with. So I think one good thing about asking questions, you need to know about yourself. You need to know what you are willing to stand and not do.
Well, I think, hold on, let me just read Brechter's question, because I think it's kind of related to that. He says, I've been turned down in the past when they find out I'm not Caucasian. Are racial preferences borderline racist? I think yes.
We had a conversation on this, right?
Did we?
I think it was because you said yes, the borderline preferences, because we had talked about that, and I think it came up to, like, maybe if somebody's could be just type. Like, and I don't, it's weird. I think it is, but at the same time, if somebody prefers, like, I've dated every kind, like every
race,
every gender, and whatever. And I've realized that I don't really have a preference. It's just a matter of how the conversation go and how if you can have a really good conversation, hang out, I'm all for it. But I do know people have preferences. I know it's like, some people just only date within their race. They don't want to date anything outside of it. Then is that racist, or is that just their type?
I think there's a lot of nuances to it, where, like, for example, if you are religious, you want maybe to find a person that also is, like, equally religious or within the same, and that's often tied to ethnicity or race. So I think I don't feel that is racist at all. But if you're like actively like avoiding, like not even looking at certain people, certain race as like dating material, just because
They look different.
then there seems to be like some kind of racial undertone in there.
It really, in my head, I think it depends. It really does depend. Like, I know a lot of brown people who would only date brown people, and I think that could be also underlying because that's the only people their parents will accept them.
Yeah.
Or they will date white guys, but then they will go back to when it's time to get married to find a brown person because it's like, oh, that's the person that they parents will accept. I don't know. I don't know.
I feel attacked by a conversation about fries. I don't put ketchup in a separate thing because it's waste of plastic. And I feel like that's a valid reason. I'm saving the environment one plastic cup at a time.
It's a Surge put it out. His deal breaker is when somebody put ketchup on top of the
judged.
fries.
And I don't appreciate
Mickey
it.
does that too. He puts it on the fries. You put it on the fries? I had no idea.
I generally don't even just put anything on my fries.
Yeah, I don't do... If it's good fries, you don't need anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But if I want ketchup, I'll just like go to the thing with the fry tray and just like...
Yeah.
And then go back.
No, for sure.
Or I will move the fries and then I will just like splatter it in there so I can dip it. But yeah, if you're just like, these little plastic shits are pointless.
Oh yeah, you don't need a separate thing. Just put it on the same plate.
Just on the side.
Yeah. All right. So some of the deal breakers, just a definition of it, is it can be a behavior, value, and or characteristics of a potential long-term partner that you fundamentally disagree with. You're just not okay with it. Deal breakers are useful tools to prevent potential unhealthy behaviors, unbalanced relationship roles, or potential dangerous situation in your relationship. And I think deal breaker is really, really good conversations to have, really good, important conversation to have, not a conversation to have on your first date. Maybe depending on the deal breaker, but something to open up.
But I also feel like the deal breakers are the things that a fuckboy would lie about.
True. So I think it's a matter of how you ask that question.
Yeah.
It's like, so the first one is, do you want kids or not? Don't say like, hey, I want kids. Do you want kids? Be like, do you want kids?
Let's go!
Yeah. Let them say the answer instead of them agreeing to what you want. And I think that's a really good way. Instead of being like, I want kids. I want 10 of them. Do you want kids? And the fuckboy is like, yeah, I want 10 too. I want 10 kids. Like, no. The DJ Degenerate, I literally had some friends of mine that told my unprompted that they would have asked me to be a donor, but they want their baby to look like them. I got offended as fuck by that because it came out of nowhere and seemed unnecessary to say. If I wasn't an option, why mention it? That's
so weird.
Awful. Yeah, why mention it? Like, if that wasn't the whole thing, then why mention it at all?
Weird.
Yeah, that's odd.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. That was really weird to do that. But yeah. So what are your deal breakers? Do you have some?
Well, I'm out of the dating world, so I never thought about this.
We can go down and see what we think about it, if they are or not.
Yeah, let's go down the list.
So the first one is wanting or not wanting kids. It's not a deal breaker for me. I personally don't really care for kids, but if somebody wants kids really badly, I'll be open to it. If somebody doesn't want kids, that's fine too. I don't care. But it's definitely something to talk about for sure.
Yeah. I am kind of the same way about kids, where like I kind of want kids, but
you
also
do want kids.
The world is
ending.
Gross. Do I want to bring new life into this? I don't know.
I think the thing that I always fight with people when people are like not recycling or not taking care of anything and they want kids, like, you want kids, like, take care of this then. Like, if you want kids, and I think that's out to everybody. If you all want kids, make sure you're taking care of the world they'll be living in.
Exactly.
Because otherwise, do whatever.
Yeah. One of the pleasures of becoming a homeowner meant that I had to sign up to the Nextdoor app.
Oh yeah.
And
fun times.
Boy, oh boy.
What's happening on your next door app?
So first of all, when I got next door, I just posted like, "Hey, I'm new to the neighborhood. This is who I am. You know, hoping to meet everyone soon." Got like 4 likes, and I'm like, "Okay, fine, that's cool." And
At least
then
you posted.
a week later, I shared like a little like article, like informational article about what to do with leaves, because I saw a lot of people like bagging leaves in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. So I found an article and I was like, what should you do with leaves? Because I also needed to know for my yard.
Yeah.
And I found that you should just like put them in like tiny piles around your yard, and they'll just disintegrate, and like they will help you know, fertilize your soil for the next year. And I'm like, yeah, that makes absolute sense. Like, why are people getting rid of this? This is actually like fertilizer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I did that, and then I shared the article with like, hey, please consider doing this instead of bagging the leaves.
Yeah.
You know, bagging leaves is just like pointless.
Oh yeah, you're making friends. I can totally see it.
You're adding so much work to yourself. You know, you don't need to be doing that.
Yeah.
And then literally, so like my first like, hi, I'm Marketa, nice to meet you. 4 likes. This 50 comments long thread of people yelling at each other.
Of course.
About bagging leaves.
Of course. There you go.
And I'm just like, what the fuck is happening?
That's exactly, yeah.
So I was just like, all right, I didn't realize that me posting an article about whether or not you should bag leaves is a political statement. And I'm not here to argue with people that I am yet to meet in person.
Oh, yeah.
If anybody wants to continue to bag leaves, at least consider buying these bags that are biodegradable. And I dropped the link. And I just left. And I'm
Dude,
like, I'm fucking done.
I can't believe you did that. But yeah, ooh, Hype Train.
So cringe.
Thank you so much for starting the
nice.
Hype Train. I love it. But yeah, I'm surprised that you went on there and posted. I've been living in my community for almost 2 years. I don't give a fuck about any of them. I was like, it's fine.
I mean,
like,
I just like
I've never even messaged anything.
Right.
Anywhere.
I mean, I
don't want to meet them.
really care, but I was just like, well, maybe if there's somebody.
Hype Train's incoming. Hype Train.
This is so funny. If there was anybody like, you know, like-minded like me, and I did meet like a lot of people in that comments were kind of like, yeah, I agree with you. Like, this is bullshit. Or like someone from Chicago was like, yeah, in Chicago we used to do it this way, blah blah blah, and like I don't understand why we can do it here. So like there were a lot of people that I think like I like stood my ground and I like expressed my values, and I think that I actually made some connections. But there's definitely way more people that are just like these suburban type, for some reason still living in a city, that are just like my grass.
All right. Great topic. We're going to go back to
back.
the deal breakers. Go from there.
I guess my deal breakers, like my values are my deal breakers for dating, especially. Like if I just need like satisfaction.
Oh my god, I love it.
Then you know I don't really care. But if I want to like date someone and be in a relationship, it is really important to me that like the person I'm dating has the same values as me.
No, that's for sure. I think that's like one of the things. Like if there's a very strong value and that you're not going to change, definitely it's something to like bring up in a conversation eventually. Avenger Joan Gamer asked, I live with my parents at an older age than most people, but it's to focus my money on my business and save for a house. Would you consider my situation a deal breaker?
No.
I don't think so.
It's smart.
Exactly. And I think that's where it comes down to. The reasoning for you be staying at home is because of that, and you can show the output. Great. If somebody just saying like they live at home but they're not saving anything, like, well, then that's a problem. Then you're just mooching off your parents. Then that'd be a deal breaker.
Fire Chief also has a good one. A deal breaker I just experienced was being open to new experiences. Showed me how stubborn they can be without even trying. Even something so simple as new food or visiting new places was hard no for them. That is definitely a deal breaker for me as well.
Same.
I love going to new restaurants all the time, trying new things, new food. I love new, like going to new countries, new cities, just like disappearing for a weekend just to go somewhere new. I love that. And I don't understand. Picky eater is a red flag for me.
Same. And I think one of the things is like there's a difference, right? Like maybe somebody didn't have an experience to go try new things, that's fine as long as they're open to trying it.
Yeah.
But if somebody is like completely, I'm not gonna try it, or I'm not like, only thing I eat is potatoes and burgers, no, absolutely not. It's a huge deal breaker.
If you order chicken fingers on our first date, we're not going on a second date.
Dude, I went on this date once and this guy had never had hummus before.
Oh
never
my
knew
God.
what hummus was. And I was just baffled because he had moved from, like, he wasn't brown, but he had moved from another country to Canada and Canada to here. It's like, you have traveled. How come you have never heard of hummus? Like, it's such a simple thing. So I ordered a hummus because I was ordering hummus as an appetizer and he had never had it. I was like, it's just chickpeas, man. Just try it. Like, and obviously we never went on a second date, but I was just like, it's just odd to me that hummus is such a thing that everybody is just aware of, because it's like in American cuisine now, like a hummus is an appetizer. But yeah, back to you. I took someone out to a Pakistani barbecue place and she ordered a goddamn burger and fries. There was no second date.
Stand your ground.
Absolutely
Stand your
no.
ground.
Like, I hate it. Like, God, we are going somewhere else. Like, yeah, if they eat pizza at the Chinese buffet, red flag for sure. All right, then a couple other, keep putting out your deal breakers. I love reading those. A few of them. Being needy or clingy, is that a deal breaker for you? Depends on what kind of needy or clingy they are. I am okay with them as long as I'm not getting text message every 5 minutes and I haven't responded to them. I'm like, well, clearly I'm busy. What are you doing? Like, why do you have this much time on your hand?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
that might be a red flag. I don't know though.
yeah.
I've never experienced someone being clingy to me, so I don't know.
I don't know how that goes. Yeah, I haven't been like, I've never had somebody being super clingy besides just being like super text messages. Like, God, dude, like, I clearly have also, I'm busy as hell. Not an excuse, but also can't be an excuse. So like, stop texting back. How about different saving and spending habits? Is that a deal breaker?
I'm sorry, that is so deep in a relationship that you should be able to have adult conversation about it. You shouldn't be talking about your finances on your first date.
No.
I feel like that's a weird
But
place.
I don't think this is a first date, but when just a deal breaker in general. Like, is that a deal breaker?
It could be.
But maybe you won't know.
I feel like literally like that point you arrive at when you're discussing finances together is you're either moved in together, you're getting married, like you're deep.
Yes.
At that point you need to be able to have that conversation, and if that's like something that you're very particular about or really care about, it's something you should have conversation you should introduce way ahead.
Fair. Finance is a big deal for me. Also, I think in general, like when we go on a first date, like we talked about before, splitting the check, like I want to make sure even if we don't split the check, like I have, either we go on a second date.
Emotes are coming!
Thank you!
Yes,
I love
thank
it.
you so much. These are adorable.
They're so cute. But yeah, choo choo. Like either we go on a second, like if I will have somebody pay for it if I know there's gonna be a second date, and then I pick up the check the second time. Or if I know this not gonna go anywhere, then let's go have a drink right immediately, or something that I can pay for it. But in general, I think I want somebody to at least have a job to be able to be paying for them. Like if they don't have a job, or if they can't pay for their regular things, that's a huge deal breaker for me, because I live my life not having a budget. I will love to not ever have a budget. That doesn't mean I'm going out and buying yachts. That's not happening. Like I live conservatively, but not be able to spend when I can. And if that's somebody, the other person can't, then having them on board also puts financial burden on me, and I'm not sure if I'm okay with that. Not a conversation I will have a first date, but I will know if the person's not working on the first date. It's like, where that is. Being bad at communication and lacking empathy for others, absolutely a deal breaker. Being rude to wait staff service, instant deal breaker. Yes.
Instantly.
Makes no
Leaving.
sense. Yeah, like if you're being rude to a wait staff, like fuck no. Absolutely not. That's a game plan. Land a girlfriend with a good job that I can quit my job and live off her. I will hate you. I would hate it if that happened. Like, no, you're leaving.
Yeah.
Lack of aspirations. Yes, that's a deal breaker for me. If somebody is not motivated, I had a few times like went on somebody who's like, oh, I don't care for work. I don't really like to work. I don't really care to do anything.
Nobody likes to work.
Nobody likes to, but like when they say like, oh, I don't really care. I'm working till I retire. Like, well, man, we're gonna all suffer because you're gonna hate what you're doing every day. You're gonna make me hate what you're doing every day. You need to have hobbies. You need to have something else, like something.
I want to be stay-at-home cat dad.
Yes,
honestly, I feel that.
We all do.
I feel that deeply.
Different social, political, religious beliefs.
Yeah.
Political beliefs, I think, is a deal breaker for me.
Absolutely, and I think that goes back to your values as well. So
yeah, political beliefs deal breaker for you guys. Or what about religious? I don't know if religious belief would be super deal breaker for me unless they're super religious.
Yes.
Like to the extreme religious, and they're not okay with me not being religious. I think that would be a huge deal breaker.
Me and Chris don't have the same belief system, but we have similar like values, like ethical values. I mean, his are probably stemming from religion and from his like family. Mine are coming from my family and no religion. So I mean, but we are compatible. I think that one thing I would like to warn people about is trying to change people.
Like not try to change people?
Don't change people. Like, you should find somebody who you are either willing to respect as they are or who you are happy, like love them as they are.
Yeah.
Like, if you were like, well, we can work on that later. Like, don't do that. Yeah. That's hurtful, and it's just going to be a waste of time for both.
Yeah. I think that's like Brooke here, don't date others to fix, for sure. And don't expect that, like, if somebody says like something right now, don't assume that person will change later. No. Like, like what Katie said, like if the person, let's say person doesn't want kids right now, love them who they are, because they may change their values later on, but don't assume they will. Don't push it, and don't assume they will, because it may not happen. And that I've had that happen to me before, and I find it very offensive if somebody assumes that I will change. Like, first of all, either you think that I'm lying right now, or B, you just assume that I change things willy-nilly. It's like, no, like it may change on my own experiences, but don't assume I will make it change because of you. We don't even know each other. But Nick Rude 123, thank you so much for subscribing. Brecht here, marriage makes sense in this messed up world from purely financial tax benefit. Agree. Totally agree. Yeah. That's where I am.
I mean, people are literally like, families are starting to like live together as roommates in big houses because they can't afford it by themselves.
Yeah, like, it's scary. It's scary. Stubbornness, unwilling to compromise. Is that a deal breaker? Yes. Huge deal breaker. You have to compromise, man. You have to. Well, not on everything, but I think there should be open-mindedness to willing to listen. And if you can't compromise with something, then be like, hey, I will let you have this one. And then there might be something else that you may have to let me on it. So you didn't compromise it, but at least you like agree. It's like, okay, yeah, 1-1 kind of thing.
I sometimes feel like compromise is difficult for me because sometimes I feel like compromise enters into a territory where you are trying to change people or where nobody's happy. And I mean, how that's good for the relationship.
That's true.
So I feel like instead of a compromise, you should just try to talk about it until you can agree to something that, and I don't, but not a compromise. I don't know if I have the words for this, but just
it's funny because I was watching Indian Matchmaker. Have you seen that?
No.
So Indian Matchmaker, like one thing about the matchmaker is like she keeps saying compromise. She keeps saying it. You gotta compromise, but she only tells that to the woman. That you gotta compromise, and I think that's where I like, I'm not against compromising, but I'm against when only one person have to compromise all the time, because that means that person is letting go of their happiness, what makes them happy, to make the other person happy. And that's okay if you are doing it equally all the time, like both parties at some point, but not like when one person's making it all the sacrifice, because then it's not compromise. You're making sacrifices.
Yeah.
Like, then that's not okay.
Yeah, that's not a compromise. And that's, I feel like usually what like compromise devolves into.
Yeah.
That's why I'm just like very iffy about that.
Yeah. And I think somebody made a really good point. Like, I think deal breakers really depends on a context, and they do. Mm-hmm. And I think, again, like compromise, it's not, if I think, yeah, it would be deal breaker if somebody is not willing to even open their mind to compromise, period. Like, that's just not okay. We may never have to compromise because we all believe the same thing, but there will always be something. Maybe we go on a vacation and let's compromise. Let's go have a brunch here and then we can have a dinner there, like depending on what you want to do. But Brooke here, I compromised. Just 1 and 5 cats. We settle on 2. That's a great compromise. Great compromise.
I love that.
Brooke here, the GOP wants to take away the right to choose, erase trans and gay people a whole lot more. It's pretty simple decision. Yeah, I think American politics is very black and white compared to the other country politics. So again, context matters. Really matter. Like, I don't think I will ever be able to date somebody who is very against abortion.
Absolutely not.
If somebody doesn't believe in women's rights, they're like, okay, then you're saying that you don't believe in my rights, and then that's it. There's nothing going forward from there.
I also, to me personally, like the way conversation is going is kind of like, it could be a deal breaker for me. Because I was on this one date with a person and I like couldn't like get them to like keep up with the conversation.
Oh, okay.
Like, I usually am one who struggles.
Yeah.
Like, I have social anxiety, so sometimes I'm just like, it's awkward silence. What are we gonna talk about next? You know what I mean? Like, I have those thoughts. And
same.
That was like this one time, this guy is just like not picking up. Like, I'm like, I'll open up new topic and it's just like fizzles out in 2 minutes. But like, the topics I like to talk about are often political. And I'm like, I'm not ashamed of my political beliefs. And like I said, like, sharing the same values is really important to me. So if I want to date, I want to know who you are. Yes. What you stand for. Yeah. Like, what's important to you. Do I want to hang out with you again? Because if you are like, you know, somebody who's conservative or somebody who doesn't believe in like, you know, rights for everyone, then I don't want to be near you like ever. So,
no, agree. I think that's a huge deal breaker for me as well, because I don't care. But
it's hard because I feel like people are very sheltered when they are talking about politics. And honestly, at this point, at this age, this is also a red flag to me. If you are unwilling to tell me
anything,
you don't have to tell me who you vote for. I don't care, because they're both terrible. Yeah. But if you can just tell me, like, you know,
what you believe in, like, what you don't even have to tell me what political party you belong to, but like what you care like, about.
If I tell you about bagged leaves on the sidewalk and you treat me like I made a political statement, we are done.
No, fair.
Done.
Yeah. I try not to like bring up politics at all on the dates unless it comes up. Like until something happens.
I always do because it's important to me.
Yeah. But I think I will bring up topics instead of like saying, are you Democratic or are you Republican?
Oh, no, absolutely.
Yeah, I will bring up topics.
That's like, what I said. They're both bad.
They're both bad, yeah. And I think that's where I think where you first started, like, I think it's a huge deal breaker. Like, I don't care who I'm dating as long as we're having a good conversation. And if I'm the only one who always starting a conversation, that's it. We're not having a second date, because how are we going to have a second date? Yeah. Like, I ran out of all the topics we could talk about in a first date. Like, this is it. That's a huge one.
Another thing, and this is specifically, I think, an American thing, because like multiple times I went on a date with somebody here, and I would talk about something that they have no idea about. They would still try to talk about that thing, like respond to me, and like that. if I hate it. I'm personally like, sometimes I don't know what the fuck conversation is about, and I will interject myself like, oh, what do you mean? Like, where is that? Or like, who is that? You know what I mean? Like, give more information. And if you look at me like you don't know, then that's also a red flag for me. Like, I don't need to talk to you. Like, why are you judging me? I'm just asking questions.
You should be giving information. Yeah, exactly. You should be like,
exactly.
You know,
and
teaching
I would
moment.
like, you know, and I would love if people would like this be willing to disclose, like, yeah, I don't actually know what we're talking about. Like, can you educate me? Like, yeah, I'll share what I know.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love it. I think all the people that I've kind of fallen for is always when they have said a topic that I didn't know and they use it as an educational, because I'm always learning more things. So if you can like tell me something nicer, like educated, not like putting you down, like, how come you didn't know about this? Like, of course I didn't.
Yeah.
But like if they use it as an education and like tell me and I learn something, I love it. I absolutely love those dates.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I haven't been like stuck around with few people that I should let go of. It's because like every time we hang out, it's like it's educational. Yeah, I learned something every time. It's like, oh yeah, there's all new things.
But it's I just don't like when people are trying to like keep a conversation that they're not keeping up with. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No.
For sure. Just because they are unwilling to say, I don't know. A lot of American people don't know how to say I don't know. That is what I learned in my dating life and in like being in school in America.
Same. And I say this 7. I'm sorry if I said it. I'm guilty of that as well. Like deathly afraid of not knowing what's being talked about, and I've lied and faked to pretend I do. I've done that a few times.
I pretend often to hear what people are saying.
Oh yeah.
I'm like smiling, like yes,
yeah. Oh my God, Bon 53. Thank you so much for subscribing.
Research, yes.
A lot of Americans think Facebook articles equal research. Oh, for sure. Oh, sure, of course. The other deal breaker is big for me, and it's not something that I probably find out on a first date, and it might not be deal breaker, but something you need to talk about is cleanliness. I'm very OCD about cleanliness, and I think something you don't find out until like you go to somebody's place, right? Like, and sometimes they have cleaned it up for the first time because they're bringing somebody over, but eventually you find out like they're just not, they can't. And I messy place is just very annoying to me. And so if I tell that somebody and they can't clean it, that's like I can't do, like it has to be cleanliness. Basic human hygiene, that's on a separate, but just in general being messy.
I got into this guy's car and I was like, I will never see you again.
Yeah. Oh God, that's also a huge, like if I get somebody's car and they're like it's just a bunch of shit and it's like, no, like, my car's messy, but like
and my car is messy, and if it's messy and I need to give someone a ride, I'll be like, listen, I will disclose, like before I even open the door, it's like, listen, I'm moving, or like I just came back from something
happened.
Like this is why, like, my car is messy, don't judge me, because I care, I care about this. And if I just see someone just open the door and just things start falling out of the car and they're just like, this is my life, then I'm just like, all right, well, I don't want to be a part of your life.
Yeah, like absolutely not. Also, the other things, if somebody tells me, it only happened once. It's like when somebody says like, oh, like I've never gone out with an Indian before, or I've never been with an Indian. It's like, no, am I just a part of your checklist of people that you've been at? Because at that point you were putting me down into a thing. Like I've never done this thing before. A check mark. I was like, yeah, and you never will. Like I'm heading out of here. Like it's it's not a deal breaker for me if somebody says like they have never been with somebody outside of their race that has never had a conversation. But when they say specifically like I've never been with an Indian, also exotic, fuck you. Fuck you immediately. Like I just read that word, all the exotic minorities. Horrible, super red flag.
Chris called me exotic.
They did. Oh my God. Hate that term.
But it was like that was
exotic animal.
Not,
like
that
what
was
is it?
Not the first date language. That was like we were already like in a relationship.
No, and that will be fine.
Like I thought you were exotic, and I was like, what the fuck are you saying?
Like, because I only associate the word exotic with animals.
Yeah,
exotic animal. So if you're telling me that, and I was like, I am not an exotic animal. There are a bunch of Indian people around. There's a lot of people around.
It's also the word exot. Just that is an insult in Czech.
Is it really?
Yes.
Oh, I had no idea. toxic, Hannah. I don't agree with that. I have never say anything like that, but if I did, it would mean that I was not familiar with the culture, and that's fine. And that's fine. I think it's fine if you. It depends on how you say it, right? Like, oh, I've never like met somebody who is from Czech, so I don't know about the culture. That's different. But if it'd be like, oh, I've never been with the European, or like I've never been like this. It's like, no, it's just way you say it.
The
and I was
being
like,
that's wrong. If you say I've never met,
yeah, that's a different thing.
that's a different thing.
Yeah,
You're
or
just
like-
trying to like learn about my culture and stuff. I'll be happy to like talk about it. But if you're just like trying to make a check mark in your fucking diary, then fuck off.
Yeah, yeah. Or people who ask where you're from because you're not white. I'm like, oh, Chicago. No, but where you from originally? I hate that. It's like, my parents are from here.
Yeah.
I'm originally from here. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And again, it's not a bad question to ask. It just depends on how you ask it. You can ask where your background is. I guess that's where you can ask, but not like, where you from originally? Here. My background is this. I'm assuming that's what you're asking. Oh, what is your heritage? Yeah, that's a great question as well.
Yeah.
But if you're asking where you actually from, fuck you.
My other red flag when I was dating here was like people not even knowing where my country is, like not even the continent. I'm like,
Horrible.
yeah,
This is horrible.
I can't literally no.
Like if
Absolutely
don't.
not.
Yeah. Oh,
And
what
also,
are
like,
you?
I
hate
literally
that.
like allowed, this guy was just like, oh, where is that? And I was like explain it to him, and I did go on a second date with him, and he asked the same fucking question, and I'm like, dude, we literally talked about this, and I told you where my country is. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I must have forgotten. I was like, yeah, you fucking did.
That's a huge thing to like forget. Like I don't so there's this one clip that's going around, and I don't know if Mickey showed it to you, and I think there's something I wanted to bring it up. It's about a question on the toilet seat etiquettes, and I'm curious on what everybody else thinks.
Toilet seat etiquette.
Toilet seat etiquette. There was this one video, and
It's a sign.
it's a sign. I wanted Mickey was gonna send this, and I don't think he did, or I haven't looked at it. There's this one clip going viral. It's from this podcast. This guy saying like, "Hear me out. How it should be." Guy comes in and puts a seat up and then puts it down.
Yes.
It's two movements that they have to
Yes.
do. So instead of them doing two movements and the girl's not doing any movement,
No.
the guy do one and the girl put it down. That means they're each shared.
No.
I have another controversial opinion on it, but I'm curious on what everybody else thinks the toilet seat etiquettes are, and what is your etiquette here, because we have
Can I-
talked about it here. Go
Can
for
I?
it.
All right.
Go
Alright.
for it.
Basic default setting of a toilet is toilet is down, right? That is the most hygienic way. Just keep your toilet down all the time. If you have a pet, they won't drink from your fucking shit bowl. If you have a child, they won't get into the fucking shit water. Keep your toilet covered with a
Right.
lid. That means the woman also, when she needs to sit down on a shitter, she will open it and make these two movements. For a guy, he can also do just two movements if he uses both of his fucking fingers and pulls it up two in one and then pull it two back down. If he wants to sit down, he does the same movement with the one lid instead of two.
Yeah, I agree with it. Actually, that's my opinion too. I think default is like both the lid down, just everybody, girl or guy, just put the lid, like both of the lids down. So that way everybody's doing their movement. It's just a matter of how many you're picking up at a time. But yeah, that's mine. Damn knowledge. Also wipe the lid if you're taking a leak, man. Like,
Yes.
guys, just also sometimes I don't know, how can guys miss the bowl? Like if you pick it up, like is there pee stain around it? It's like you should have covered that, put the lid down so nobody can see it, but it's disgusting.
Like if you look at, you should always make sure you leave the toilet ready for the next person. Like if you leave a leak somewhere, take an extra paper, wipe it, it's yours. Wipe it. Don't let other person touch your fucking excess.
Yeah. If I go to somebody's apartment and their toilet doesn't look clean, it's disgusting.
No.
There's a layer.
No.
Deal breaker. I just can't. Like putting lid down up, it's fine. Like we will talk it out and we'll figure something out. But like if your bathroom looks disgusting, I am not gonna be here again. Corduroy crook, it doesn't come out in a straight line. Why not? It doesn't make sense to me. So morning wood equal tiredness. Sometimes you spray and pray.
Oh my god. So what? Sometimes like Chris, when he's like, when he's like tired or something,
changes.
when he's like peeing, he will just put his like other hand up, like by the like prop himself to the wall, and he's just like accessing himself, and then like after like a month or something, you can just see like the
handprint there.
handprints on
Oh my god!
And I'm like, Chris, can you not see this, please? Can you do something about it? It's not me.
Like,
You're doing this.
That's hilarious. That's so funny. I think we're kind of close to wrapping it up, and I know Ketty has to go, and so I think we will end it to. I had a few questions, but I think we'll end it to like, what is the best dating advice that you have ever gotten?
A veteran move.
Oh my god!
So funny.
I sometimes prop myself the morning pee. That's what Chris is doing. He's propping himself.
I just feel like you guys have a solidarity circle now.
Yeah, I love you guys. Great. But yeah, so what is the great best advice that you've gotten? And what's the best? I think there was a lot of people who were sending advice in the chat. It's like essentially, be yourself. And I think one thing I will add on to that is like, learn who you are first and to be yourself.
Yes.
And a lot of times what we do is like we don't give a time to really learn who we are. And we can't be ourselves if we don't know who we are.
Yeah.
Like,
I cannot stress this enough. Be single and appreciate the fact that you're single, because when you're single, you, first of all, if you're like in your like 20s and something, you can travel so much. And you can even work in different countries. You can like expose yourself to all these different like influences and cultures. You can become a whole new person. Reinvent yourself literally. And then when you come back home or settle wherever you want, you know who you are, you know what you stand for, you know who you're looking for. It will be so much easier for you to date, with like create like a very precise idea of who you want your partner to be.
Yes.
And
And Brooke Tears are really good. Personally will never date if I'm not in a good place in life. Need to focus on myself. That's unfair not only to you but the people you're dating. For sure. If you have just broken up and you just want to like find somebody, don't do that, because that's very unfair. Also, you're wasting your time and you're wasting somebody else's time. Just take time. It doesn't hurt to be single. Just take time for yourself. And codependent is the worst.
Yes.
And I think one other good advice that I have received or I live by is like a lot of times people are afraid to get their heart broken again once their heart has been broken. And I think the one thing I will say is like there's this this Japanese I think it's a Japanese, not a ritual, but it's a way of like when an item is broken, then they fix it with the gold in it. It's called kintsugi, and I love that. And I tell that everybody, like, just put your pieces together and go out again. Like, don't be afraid to get heartbroken again, because life goes on. But take time for yourself. Doesn't matter if it takes 2 weeks, 3 years, 3 months. But take time for yourself and then do it again, because you will never find love unless you do put yourself out there, and it will just make you that much stronger. Just lesson learned. Use your lesson learned, and then just know things that you can do better. But yeah, the Normies, nah man, date when you bum crumb bumps and he'd love you too. Washed up. When in a relationship, you should have a partner, not another thing to take care of. Yes, absolutely. And I think that's the one thing I'm big on. Like, I want somebody that we can be power couple together, not somebody to take care of, because I already have a dog to take care of. I don't want another person to be taken care of. I'm not somebody's mom. But yeah, Jen Michael 1105, thank you so much for subscribing. But that's mostly it. Does anybody in the chat have any advice to give? And but yeah,
I feel like there's still so much to talk about. So we should return to this.
Yes,
to this
because I have
topic
3
again.
questions that I found. It's like, what should you do? What should you not do while dating? What are 3 rules of dating? What does everybody think about like waiting for 3 days to be physical, intimate? Like, where do we stand? And what is the dating age rule?
Okay.
yeah, so we'll probably come back to it and discuss it because I think everybody had like a really great things to talk about. But yeah, I wouldn't mind finding myself a daddy though. I wouldn't myself either. That wouldn't be a bad at all.
There will definitely be a part 2 to this because we still have so much to talk about and you guys seem to be enjoying it.
Yes.
So that's great.
Yeah. And we're gonna look for somebody to raid and we're gonna raid here.
Stick around for the raid.
Yes.
Tell them Normies send their regards.
Yes.
Don't forget that we will be back every week on Wednesdays and we have so many other things on Twitch. So follow us here because our schedule keeps being updated with new streams.
Yes. And somebody asked if they missed One Piece. We do One Piece every Thursday at 4 p.m. So join us then. We are really enjoying it. And this time we actually have a good wine to drink. So I'm happy about that.
Yay.
Yay. All right, who are we rating? Vanessa Lopez, here we come. Thank you so much. Stay for the raid. I love you guys all. Have a great day. Be kind to everybody. Bye.
Get ready.
Sweet.
Cause it's about time
The advice is date
for you to speak your mind. Super secret girls club. Super secret girls club. Super secret girls club.